everyone, it's Di here from Di's Den, and I'd like to show you how I made this card. It's called a diamond spring card because it will spring back up and it's not using any balls or anything else. Years ago there was a die, you could buy a plastic one like this. It's not very easy to see there. Let's see if I can find something to put on. I haven't got anything here to put it on. Well, no. Anyway, and you used to just trace around it and draw the lines in, and then you put all your folds in. But this is only quite tiny in comparison to what size I'm going to make, so I'm not going to use this one. As I say, I had this one for a long time because it was $5.95 when I bought it, so I couldn't have a guess to anything that would be today. This is a Mary Ann design. I don't know if they're still available, but anyway, that's the concept, and this is my card, and this card is using the beautiful new Poinsettia Petals, which is in the new mini catalogue that goes live on the 4th of August. I think this goes live on the 2nd of August, so this goes live on the 4th of August. But it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and look at these beautiful dies. You can make these lovely poinsettias like we've done here. It has one for the whole of the poinsettia as well. Here, a die and some berries and bits and pieces, leaves, holly leaves, and it's got two beautiful great big stamp sets. As you can see, I've used my Merry Christmas a few times. I like Merry Christmas. It's just one of my favourite sayings. So we are going to make this card. I have not put my things on the blocks yet, so I'm just going to do that now while I'm talking to you for a second. Today we're going to be doing cards that are, ouch, sorry about that, I've just bashed my lid, my light, that are, oh goodness, I'm having a fucking throat here, using the new papers out of the catalogue too, which are from the same bundle, and I've done some around the edges. I can't think what you call that. Distress looking around the edge of the side, and along with these beautiful little, whatever you call them things, diamantes. They are called Wonderful Gems, and they're also in the catalogue. They've got like gold sparkles in them, in the red and the clear ones, so they are really nice as well. I will be using my stamp apparatus today as well, so, and I will be using excuse me, Memento, Garden Green and Cherry Cobbler as well. So let's get cracking, shall we? Let's pop that card over there so I can have it for inspiration. Alright, so we are going to, let's pop that out of the way. We've got a few bits of scrap card here, which I'm going to just pop on one side for now, and we're going to go through what we need for this. So we need a card base, which is 11 inches by 5.5 inches, which means that this is a 5.5 inch square card. It will fit into a 5.5 inch square envelope really nicely. And then for our diamond layers, I'm using Garden Green, and this measures 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 square. And then my designer paper, which I might use that side this time. That's the side I used last time, but I think I might use this side this time. So this measures 3.5 by 3.5, that designer series paper layer. Also for the writing panel, which I didn't show you, on the back of this is a writing panel. I didn't put the green layer, and I wish I had have, so I'm going to put it on this one. Okay, so that measures 2.5, hang on, well, 2.5 by 5 1/4, and then my white layer measures 2 1/4 by 5. Now for the sides of my card front, you're going to need another square that measures 2.5 inches square, and another base layer of designer series paper that measures 2¼ inches square. So that's the main card. For my leaves, we have a piece of paper that I've already cut my leaves, so here's my leaves. The dies also have the ones that do the embossing as well, which makes it really nice. I don't know if you can see that very well on there. Yes, here you go. There you can see that, really lovely. So my piece of green in Garden Green measures 1 3/4 by 3 1/8. And then I need a yellow piece for the inserts of my flowers, which is only 2 little inserts, that measures 1½ by 1 3/4 inch. Oh, wrong way round. Then for my poinsettia flowers, now I did 2 flowers, so there's 1 flower there. As you know, I don't bring on my big shot into the picture. It's way too heavy for me to lift. I can't do this. So, and I have 2 little ones. So they all came out of this piece of card, which measures 5 7/8 by 8 1/4. So they're all the bits and pieces we need. There's still plenty of room on this piece of card, and this is real red. It doesn't look red from here, but looks like a pinky red, but it doesn't matter. It's beautiful anyway. So they're the pieces we need for making our flowers, which I'll pop on one side. Our leaves, which I'll pop on one side. And our centers to our flowers, and I have 2 little ones that I cut out of that as well. So that's all our bits and pieces. So let's pop these pieces on one side as well, and I'm going to sneeze. I can feel it coming on. And we're going to start with our main piece of card. So I'm going to bring in my scoreboard and we're going to score this on the long side at the 2 3/4 inch mark, 2 3/4 inches, and the 5½ inch mark. Okay, so let's pop that out of the way for a minute. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our ruler, our trusty little ruler, and our pencil, and on all 4 of the largest side, we've got 2 small bits and this large square piece, which is the 5½ inch mark. We're going to mark this at the 2 3/4 inch mark with the pencil, just on that side, and again on this side, and this one, and again on the bottom at this score line here, which you can't see that score line very well, at that score line, the 5½ inch score line. So we're going to bring that up to here, and we're going to mark that one as well at 2 3/4 inches. And that's all our marking we're going to do. Let's pop those out of the way. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually bring in, so you've got 4 marks on the big piece. We've got the small piece here, and the next one, and then we've got the 4 marks. So we're going to bring in our trimmer, and I'm going to bring my trimmer in, and we're going to put this so that the score line on the mark on the side meets with the score line down the bottom here. So this first score line here, oops, you can't see me very well, I'll bring that up a bit more. My first score line here and my mark here that we've made, we're going to then, just making sure that's right in the correct spot, we're going to score that on that angle across like so. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So we're going to bring this in, and at this mark that we've made here and the bottom score line here, we're going to line them up, and we're going to score them as well. Oops, I'll move that. So now we have 2 horizontal score lines and a diagonal score line that goes right through the middle of this mark here. what we're going to do next is we're going to move our scoreboard out, thing out the way, and we're going to go from this mark at the top of the page down to of the card down to the one on the side, making sure that it lines up really good, and we're going to chop that bit off, and then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. We're going to line that up so that that score line, this score line here, and these marks all match up, and then we're going to cut that bit off as well. So now we have a piece that has a diamond on the top, a long side and a bottom. So these are our scrap bits. We're now going to, we can now rub off these pencil marks that we've got on our card. You don't need them anymore, and we're going to now using our, excuse me, I had to move back a bit for that, and now move forward again. So let's move them out of the way, we don't need those. So let's start by folding our card. So we're going to fold this bottom score line at the 2 3/4 mark. We're going to fold that up so we have a valley fold. We're going to fold the next one up as well at the halfway mark, so they are like so. And then our cross ones, we're going to put them as mountain folds. So we have a mountain fold on that angle, and then a mountain fold on the other angle. So now our card looks like valley, valley, mountain, mountain. That way, when we push these side bits in, we are now going to have our spring-shaped card. So we can now pop them down nice and tight, like so, and we virtually have our card. So we're going to start by putting some glue on this triangle piece here. So I'm just hoping my glue is going to work. It's been really cold here, and this particular glue doesn't like the cold much. Oh no, it's working. It's warm in this room. So we can pop some glue on there, and we can close that over so that it folds over and it matches up with this corner at the front here. So we can now pop that down there nice and hard with our trusty bone folder, and we have our spring fold card. How easy is that? And this, from here on in, it's just a matter of decorating. So you could put a writing panel in the back here and write in here, because there's no reason why you couldn't write in there. But I just thought I would like to put my writing panel on the bottom, so that's what I'm doing with mine. So we will pop that out of the way, and I will bring in my writing panel here, and I will put my things on my blocks now. So let's stand my card up over there out the way for a minute. And where's my stamp set? Oh, here we go. Here's my stamp set. I have used, or I will be using, this beautiful stamp here that looks like berries, and I will also be using the Wishing You which I'll pop that out of the way. The Wishing You, what I do is I find that if I lay this on here, so the bottom of my block is along where the inch mark is, I can then use one of the dotted lines to make sure that my stamp is on there straight if I'm using words. So let's bring in my memento, and we're going to put on here, excuse me for leaning across you, here's my trusty mat here. Again, wishing you, warm wishes from our home to yours. So that's my warm wishes in my memento, and that's virtually all my memento stamping. I'm going to use garden green for my berries, and I'm going to stamp my berries off on one side, top and bottom, like so. So let's pop that out of the way, and we can move this out of the way as well. And what I will do is I have my cherry cobbler blender pen, and I'm only using the dark because the berries are so small, and I'm using the tip end, not the colouring end. I'm using the tip end because it's only tiny, and I will just colour them in. If you've got marker pens, you could do it with the marker pens, because as I say, these are just so small. There is a stamp in there for stamping them if you want to spend the time doing that, but for this tiny little bit, I just thought I could do them by hand just as quick as by the time I line them up. So that's my berries all coloured in there now, and they just look absolutely gorgeous. It's coloured in like so. Let's move that out of the way. I think I'll need that again in a minute. But so now we're going to just glue that onto our other piece here, our layer. And pop this onto the back of here, making sure it lines up really nicely. And once we're happy with that, we can pop that onto the card. And then we're going to just glue this onto the back of the card. Now I just turn my card over like this to put it on there because it's just easier, but that doesn't matter which way up you've got it. There's not a right and wrong when you're putting it on the bottom. As I say, if you want to put it in the inside, you just use the same measurements for the inside piece for your sentiment as you would use for the front of your card. So that is my writing panel on the back of my card. Now that definitely looks better than that. By far that looks better than that. So I'm really happy with that. Now, so as I say, if you were doing the writing panel in here, you would use the same sizes as what you've got here for these pieces for your writing panel. And you would need to write stamp on the diagonal. So what we're going to do first is we're going to just pop that down there out the way, and we're going to glue our designer paper onto our other square. And whoops, then if you've got a paper that has a direction, again be careful, making sure you get your direction as close as possible to what you need. Oops, that's a little bit out. That's better. And then this will sit onto the front of here with a really tiny little gap around the edge, which is what we want. So and I'm making sure that I get my flowers up, or pine cones I should say, not flowers, up the correct way. And there's our piece for our designer paper on there. With our other piece of designer paper and our piece of square card, what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our trimmer again, and we're going to trim these from corner to corner. So to make a diamond on the diamond, we're going to cut that from corner to corner, and we're going to do exactly the same with our piece of designer series paper, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. This one from the Christmas catalogue. Oh, there's so many beautiful things in this catalogue. It's going to be hard to restrain myself. And these are going to sit and be glued onto these pieces like this. So let's do that. And we're going to glue that onto there. the same with the other one. Making sure you get a nice even piece around the edges if you can. Oh, I can't seem to. Oh, that one doesn't want to sit on there nicely. There we go, that's better. That's it. And then these pieces then are going to be glued onto each corner like so. So let's pop them on there. One on each side of the card. Like so. And we have our card sitting here beautifully now. So let's pop our card out of the way, and we're going to bring in our pricking board. This is a small pricking board, and what I'm going to do is we're going to make up our large flowers and our little flowers. So let's bring these in, and what we need to do is we're going to lay them out. We've got 3 pieces to each flower, and we are going to just curl the ends of my flowers just to break the fibres. Don't be too over the top hard on them. You don't want to break your petals off. Oops, come here. And we do the same with the other big one. So they all look a bit like spiders with 5 legs, where spiders have 8. But that's what they look like, spiders. And we're going to do the same with our little ones as well. We're just going to curl those ones just a tiny bit. And once we've done that, we can get on to the assembly part. So let's pop them out of the way. And we're going to use our trusty ball, and we're going to just now roll into the middle of each flower like so. So they now pop up. This includes the little ones and our other large one. And then we're going to just pop a bit of glue onto the centre of the largest one, and offset our leaves, or petals actually, they're not leaves, from our second poinsettia flower. And then again a bit more glue in the middle, and then offset the next set of leaves, petals. And we're going to do the same with the next one, the next largest one. Oops, large one, offset, large one, offset. So both our, and then with our little ones we're going to do the same again. We're going to pop a little bit of glue into the centre of the little one, and we're going to pop this one as an offset as well. So let's make that a bit more of an offset. There we go. And then I'm just going to bring in my 2 holly leaves, and I'm just going to run my tool around where all the veins are, just to give them a bit more of shape. And that's our end of our shaping. These little bits here, I'm going to just put a small dimension into the centre of each one of my large flowers here, and I'm going to then pop, oops, get on there, stay on there. pop this yellow piece into the center here. So that's our flowers. I'm going to use a large dimension on the back of these flowers. I've got a couple here, so I'm still waiting for me to put my order in. I'm really slack. And one small one on the bottom of this one. I'm also going to put one of these tiny little, well, it might be, there we go, one of these tiny little clear ones into the centre of this flower here, just to give it the sparkle in the middle. So we're going to now decorate the front of our card. We don't want too much at the top, because otherwise it will be heavy and it will lean down. So we're going to pop our big flower onto around the middle of this card like so, and then the other flower on the other side a bit. Now I don't want too much down the bottom here, but I'm going to pop this one down a little bit. Now as it can hang over, because as long as it doesn't hang over these sides here, so it can hang over the top of the diamond in the middle. And then I'm going to just put a bit of glue onto my leaves and pop my leaves in on an angle up the top here. I'll turn this around in a second so you can see what I'm doing. So my leaves are now at the top there like so. This little flower is going to be hanging on for a moment. So let's pop this out of the way, and we're going to do our Merry Christmas, which I'm going to do in my Stamparatus, because I want to stamp it so that it's nice and nice and dark. So let me get my piece of my stamp. And I have a small piece of card here. I don't know if this is wide enough. Yes, it's wide enough. So let's pop my piece of card into my Stamparatus. So, like so. And then I'll place my... Let's move that out of the way, the opposite way around, so that that's better. And I will stick this in here like so, making sure it's nice and flat. Press down, open up, and now I'm going to stamp in cherry cobbler. Oh, actually, no, I'm not going to stamp in cherry cobbler. I'm going to stamp in garden green this time. I'm going to stamp it in garden green this time. So I'm going to stamp my Merry Christmas in garden green onto my piece of card. I want it to be a bit darker, so we'll stamp it again, and I'll bring this down so you can see what I'm doing. When I lift this up, this is beautiful, but if I want it a bit darker and a bit crisper, I can just stamp it over and over again in the same spot. Now how gorgeous does that look? How crisp and clear does that look? It looks beautiful. So let's pop the lid on this. We now have our piece of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this out of the way. I won't close that up because I'll clean my piece, my Stamparatus. And I will cut this off. So I'm going to cut this off so that when I've got this in my let's bring this down here. Let me bring this down this end so you can see. When I have this in my trimmer, I bring this into my trimmer, and so that I know that I get the same distance each side, what I do is I line the words up with this inside channel here. That way I can cut that off there, and then I can turn this around and I can line that up exactly the same again, so that the edge of my words comes to the side there. And when I cut that off, I know that it's even on both sides. How clever is that for me to work that one out? I'm sure other people have already worked that one out too. So that's garbage, that's rubbish, that's rubbish. Let's pick that up and pop that out of the way. And we're going to just pop this onto a couple of dimensions. I got a piece, I'll cut a piece off of this one here. So, and I'll pop this onto the back here. And I will then bring my card in, and I'm going to lay this across the bottom here. Now you need to make sure that none of that hangs out over these sides. If it does, no, that's not even straight. If it does, it's going to come on, that's not even doesn't even want to pull off. There we go. There we go. Stick on there. So let's make sure that I get that nice and straight. There we go. That's nice and straight, like so. And then I'm going to just pop this one down the bottom here. So they're just hanging onto the top of the sentiment tag. I'm going to use some of these beautiful diamantes again, so I'm going to use some of the, I'll use a large one here to put at the end of my Mary here, and one up here, and another one that, oops, come on, out of there, up the top here, like so. Okay, that's our card for today. I hope you've enjoyed today's card. There's my original one. I did that with the clear ones. So this one I did, and I used I put some white behind these ones, but this ones I didn't put the white in there, and I've used the red ones and the opposite sides of the paper. They are gorgeous. If you would like this and you would like to see more of my tutorials, please subscribe to my channel. That way you won't miss anything that I make. And this one I actually used the Winker Stella on, but I haven't got my Winker Stella with me. I don't know what, I must have left that in the other room. So I can't put Winker Stella, but I Winker Stella all over my flowers just to finish it off, and it gives that lovely sparkle, as you can see. So I will do that one with this one. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment if so, and I will see you again next week. Bye for now.